Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Felicia. If you're new here, welcome. I create content around fashion, lifestyle, sewing and DIY. So if you're interested in this kind of content, please do well to click on that subscribe button and join this fam, okay? And to my returning subscribers, thank you for coming back to watch this video. So guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do a shoulder dart, and this shoulder dart, I'm going to also be improving on it to show you how to create this asymmetric neckline on the screen. I'm going to show you how to make your pattern to be able to create this style using the shoulder dart. So if you're interested in seeing how to do that, please do well to continue watching. Alright guys, so before we go ahead to start this tutorial, I already have a tutorial on how to create this lower part of the pattern. As you can see, I've gone ahead to work on the lower parts and taking in my bust intake, and I have that video already up on the channel. So if you want to see how to do the dart intakes on the lower part on the bust area, do well to check that video out. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys from this point how to create your shoulder dart and how to take your darts on the shoulder darts. You'll find one for a princess bustier on the channel, but for this video we're doing a shoulder bustier pattern, okay? So at this point I have done my dart intake. At this point I've taken 1 inch here, 1 inch here, and I've replaced it already. So that's why I have this new line here. So this line right here is the initial exact measurement before the darts were taken, and then I replaced my 2 inches, and that's what I have. So I'm done with the lower part of the front bodice. I'm going to go ahead and work on the bust, on the shoulder darts, okay? So for the shoulder dart, we're going to be measuring the length of this shoulder slope here and divide that by 2. So right here we have 4 1/4 inch. So when we divide that into 2, so this is the point here. If we divide that into 2, just fold over the tape, we'll have 2 inches. 2 is 2 1/8 actually. So yeah, at this point here is my midpoint of my shoulder slope. So I'm going to just mark my midpoint, which is this place, this point. And then so from this point I'm going to connect it straight down back to this point. So now on my bust point, which is this point here, I'm going to go up 1 inch. I'm going to go up 1/2 inch from this point, and it's from this point now I'm going to be doing my dart intakes. So the next thing you want to do is to measure the distance between the bust point and the under bust, and what we have here is 3.5 inch. I'm going to be using this 3.5 inch to create my bust radius like this. So once I've done this, I'm going to be taking my 2 inch dart on the top of this my bust radius at this point here. So I'm going to mark 1 inch here and 1 inch here. I'm going to connect from this point back to the shoulder like this, and from this point back to. Once I've done this, I'm going to now use my curved ruler to connect back to this point. This 1/2 inch I have come up on this line. I'm going to be curving it to come back to this point. So once this is done, the next thing I'm going to do usually is to blend this line, because I don't want to have a sharp point here. So I'm just going to use my curved ruler or just use my hands to just blend this point here so that it's not sharp. So I'm just going to do this just so I don't have a sharp line, and I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Yeah, I'm going to clean this off the initial pointy line I have there. So this is our shoulder dart, but I'm going to go ahead to show you guys more using this pattern. I'm going to go ahead now to transfer this line, because anytime we're making an asymmetric neckline, we need to draft the full pattern of the bodice. So this is just the full pattern of the front bodice, and depending on the style of the back, you may have to also do the full pattern of the back bodice. But I'm just going to show you using just the front bodice, and this is half of the front bodice. Okay, so I'm going to be transferring this line to the other side of this paper. As you can see on this paper, I have already folded the paper from beginning before I stem my draft. So do well to fold your paper before you start making your pattern. So once I've done this, once I'm done with the half of the front bodice, I'm going to be using my tracing wheel to trace out the line so that I have a full bodice. Full bodice of the pattern. I'm going to go ahead to continue with the style of this pattern. As you can see on the screen, the style of the dress has like a tube, and then it also has a yoke. So I'm going to start by shaping the tube here. I'll be using a neck depth of 8 inches. Feel free to use how deep you want. If you want it deeper, then you take it deeper down. But I'm going to be using 8 inches, or let's use 8.5 so that it's not too high. Let me use 8.5 inches to come down. The style looks more like a tube, so I'm going to be taking it downward a bit. So I'm not going to be using the middle point as I planned to use before. I'm just going to come down a bit more, use 6.5 inch at this point. So from this point, I'm going to be shaping my princess curve to this point right here. Something else I would like to do is to mark from the bust point, which is here, I'm going to mark 5.5 inch up so that I can follow the curve. So I'm going to connect from this point to this point, then down to this point. So this will serve as my neckline before we work on the yoke. But yeah, this is that. Also, another thing I'd like to point out in this video is that I'm not going to be doing a corset as is on the style. The style has a separate cup from the rest of the bodice, but for this one, because of what my customer wants to get done, she wants it to just be a regular bustier but still having the same style. So another thing we want to do now is to also, if you look at the middle of the front bustier, you see that there's like a net there. So I'm going to be marking the points where I'm going to be having that net on this pattern. So on the half length front line, I'm going to mark 1 inch in, and I'm going to connect that 1 inch I marked here now to the chest line here. So this point here becomes where my net is going to go for the bodice. But now that I have created these 2 new lines, I'm going to go ahead and use my tracing wheel to transfer the line to the other side of the paper. Is our net piece where our mesh is going to go, and this is the neckline, the sweetheart neckline. This is the sweetheart neckline. Now the next thing I'm going to do now is to work on the yoke of this dress. So now on this other end, this is where this side is going to have more of the net piece, because there's a net on this dress. So I'm going to be coming out from the neckline. I'm going to be coming out 1 inch. One inch here. And on this middle point here, I'm going to take it down about 2 inches. So I'm just going to be ending my mesh at this point. So this whole part of the style is also our mesh, our skin mesh. And then here we'll have the main fabric on this point as well as on this other point as well. So guys, this brings us to the end of this pattern. I hope this was not too complicated. Leave me questions down below if you have any questions. And yeah, I'm going to show you people, I'm going to be inserting the clips of the cut out pieces of this pattern at the end of the video, so look out for that so that you see everything more clearly than it is looking right now. But yeah, always remember to label your pieces before cutting it open. So this is our side front, this is our center front, this is still part of our center front, and this is our other side front. This is the mesh and this is the yoke. So yeah, this is what we're having as our final look of this our pattern. Every other allowances will be added once the cutting is taking place. Okay, I usually add my allowances on the fabric, so whatever pattern I do, please do well to add your allowances on the fabric, or you can as well also add the allowance on the pattern. So I'll be leaving you guys now. Thank you for watching this video. If you're yet to be subscribed to my channel, please do well to subscribe. Share this video to someone who you know would need it, and I'll see you guys in another video. Until then, remain fabulous as always. Okay, bye.